think the secret is there's no secret.
Ooh.
I think, I was thinking about this because, we had spoken a little bit before as far as, some of the questions and whatnot.
That's not Victoria's Secret.
Well, that's part of it. 100%. That's part of it. We can go down that bunny trail as you
It's
want.
May's Secret.
Yeah.
May's. Anyway,
So,
go ahead.
so the bottom line is, I think sometimes we think, difficult things are difficult, but people are successful at it. Therefore, there must be like some secret sauce.
Mm-hmm.
If I could just get that secret sauce, then I could retire wealthy. If I could get that secret sauce, I could have a successful marriage. I could lose weight. I could get fit. I could, name all of the different pursuits that people have. But I think in reality, when you start to ask that question of what's the secret, it's that it kind of, at least for me, I'll speak for myself, it reveals the fact that I want there to be a secret because I don't want to do what it takes to get that. And I think really the answer is, what does it take to have a successful marriage? I mean, I think there's a couple foundations. Number one, I think you have to find somebody that you trust. I think marriages are based on trust. They're not based on love. The love comes as a volitional choice. And then you just decide that you're going to go through whatever suffering it takes to make it work. And you just do the hard work. I mean, it was like, what does it take to graduate from medical school? Well, it takes a tremendous amount of hard work. Like, what does it take to, get fit? It takes a tremendous amount of hard work. And I think we want there to be a secret when really the secret is,
The secret
you
is
keep
it
working.
sucks sometimes, like
Yeah.
everything else, and that's okay. As
Well,
my as my
yeah,
as my
but it, yeah, maybe for you it sucked.
Oh, no.
but as my mother always, this is the one thing that resonates with me that my mom, imparted to me as a kid. Anything in life that's really worthy isn't easy, but it's hard.
Mhm.
And you put in the hard work, and it gets easier, and it's worth it. So that's marriage. I mean, there's no Sleepless in Seattle or You Had Me at Hello. I mean, there's all that
Mhm.
in the beginning, the romance, the infatuation, like in the movies. But the
Right.
truth is like everything else. I mean, whether it's like a marathon or anything that, think of anything that anybody has done that they've been successful at. There are some real hard times when you don't want to put in the work. You just have to go through the motions.
Right.
And I think that's the secret, is for people to really know that it's okay for it to be hard and it's okay to have downtime. It doesn't mean it's over. It doesn't mean you have
Yeah.
to pull the plug. Um, you don't have to quit. You have to work through the tough stuff, because then
Yeah.
it just makes the good part even better. So I think it's okay. I think that's what a lot of people need, is to hear the validation that it's okay for things to be painful and
Mhm.
to stink at times.
Yes. And I think too, for us as women, we have the example of Disney. We have the Cinderella. We have the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, to where we see that happy, ever ending, but we don't know what happens after the lights go out, after the movie ends. So we only see one part, and that's the part that they want us to see, and that's it. Even with the soap operas, it's the part they want us to see. And being able to build, like you say, you have to be able to trust a person. You can't go into a marriage without trust. You have to be able to have some foundation, and the trust is where it starts.
It's funny. I always laugh about soap operas. I'm like, who goes to bed with all that makeup on anyway? Second of all, if you do, your pillow's gonna be schmear. You're gonna look like crap in the morning. But when you said about the Cinderella, wow, that really hit me like an arrow, because
Hey,
that's
come on!
what
I look like Prince Charming. No, I look like one of the seven dwarfs,
the
more likely,
little old
right?
mice man.
Yeah, grumpy,
Oh my.
lumpy.
So I really, had that Cinderella kind of complex thing going for a while when we first got married. I was going through a lot of rough stuff. I did through my teen years, medical school, when we first got married, I was still struggling with bulimia. I had anorexia and bulimia, and I went, we went into the marriage with that. I had just recently become a Christian a few years before we got married. Um, and I saw Tim as kind of my knight in shining armor to help kind of ride along and sweep me off into this perfect. I don't know. I never dreamed of my wedding and all that as a woman, but I had come through a whole bunch of stuff, and it was like this is he's gonna make me happy, and life's gonna go on happily ever after. Well, we got to like the 7 year. I got to the 7 year itch into marriage, and I'm like, this is no fun, and I'm not happy. And yeah, and we'd been through a lot. We'd been through internship, residency together. That was no fun. We didn't see each other, every third night we did. My sister moved in with us after we were married for 6 months. And she was like a big cat that ate our food and went out at night and partied.
Oh,
That's a
no.
whole other story.
Oh, no.
So that was tough.
Oh,
We moved-
wow.
Thankfully, she didn't use a litter box.
She's come a long way. But we up and left. We left our home country. We moved from Canada to the US, and that's a big deal to leave all your family behind, start new careers. And I wasn't really enthralled with being a doc. It wasn't all I thought it was going to be. And then, 7 years in, things kind of sift and settle in the marriage, and Tim's having fun, and I'm not knowing who I am. And I was like, I don't know that I love you anymore. We got to that. I mean, I got to that twice in our marriage, and
I know it's entirely impossible to
yeah.
understand how that.
I know. Look at you. How
Oh.
could I dare say such a thing? But I want to say that those were big bumps for me, and it the first time really took doing some soul searching and getting to the point where it's not his job to make me happy, and I
Mhm.
had to figure that out. And that was the big lesson then, is that it's okay if I'm unhappy. I had to give myself permission to be unhappy. I read a few really good books, but
So what happened when you gave yourself permission to be unhappy?
yeah, suddenly I wasn't unhappy anymore. It was really bizarre. It's like, okay, I'm gonna be miserable, and it's okay to be unhappy, and we'll figure things out with work and my career. And all of a sudden, I was like, huh. It was just this amazing spiritual transformation and release, and I I wasn't worried about my purpose of being happy, and our marriage started to flourish again. I mean, it, it was a really big life changing thing for me.
Mm.
And so, all that to say that um, through some roadblocks like that, and another point in time, but through the kids, the babies, the empty nesting phase, there's ups and downs. But what is so wonderful about our marriage is that we have fun together, we like each other, we've made a promise to God, and that we would work through anything. And I'm like, yeah, we can do it. We've went through so many trips together, and we're warriors with exercise, and we've got through tough med school. And I mean, of course we can do marriage. It's going to suck, but as we trust one another is the biggest thing. And we know each other has their back. So
It's interesting though, because as much as I dished on the kind of dissed on the whole concept of a secret, I think if there was a secret, is to fall in like with your spouse.
yeah.
You know that Cinderella, it's Sleepless in Seattle, it's Hallmark Channel, and it's like this. Everyone wants that.
Yeah.
Super euphoric rush of falling in love with somebody, and that's all fine and good. But the bottom line is what makes this fun. What makes our marriage easy now, and it's pretty easy, honestly, is that we like each other.
And we did the work. I mean,
No, we did the work,
we
but the fact
we
is
did
we
we
like
did
each.
some marriage counseling classes. We taught them. We really looked into ourselves. We communicate well. We learned how to communicate well. We sure didn't at first. Of course, I was like the typical woman. Well, you better be able to read my mind, because if you can't, you got a
And
problem.
if you can't read my mind, enjoy this stainless steel bowl that's now become a projectile.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
no.
Oh yeah,
No.
no,
It was popcorn. It was just filled with popcorn. Nobody got hurt. But
Well, I want to ask both of you a question, and before Vanessa jumps in here. May, whenever you look at Tim now, what do you see in him that you needed all of along?
boy. You know, so it sounds kind of corny, but when I look at him, it's like a reflection of me in a way, because we're like, I would say soulmates, because we grew together.
Like Siamese twins?
No, stop
Oh,
it.
sorry.
But I mean, I don't know, he's a man. He's there, and I know that he will protect me, and he will do whatever it takes to make the marriage work, and that he's this solid rock and foundation that I can trust. And I don't think I really believed that at the beginning. And so I know that when I'm going through crap, and even when I can have told him that I don't know if I love you, he's like, I will live in a box if that's what we need to do to, sell our house. I will do whatever, but I will always be there for you. It's this unconditional love. And he's faithful. I know he will be forever faithful, and it's unwavering, it's unconditional, and it is to death do us part. I mean, I believe it. That's what I see.
All right, Tim. When you look at May, what do you remember most that you appreciate?
Well, I mean, actually, that's really easy for me because, and this has been described by lots of our friends and even by now our podcast fans. They love how we relate to each other, and I'm definitely the gas and she's definitely the brake. And even the most powerful race car needs a really good set of brakes, and I needed a really good set of brakes. So, for her to still come on all my stupid adventures and whatnot and be a participant in that, but to understand that there is a balance, and like I would never have been nearly as balanced even in my 30s without her there as sort of like the counterweight, so to speak. And I mean, I think that's what a partner should be, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like if you look at any really productive partnership, I think of music, and really your marriage should be like music. I mean, it's frustrating sometimes to write music, but man, when it works, it's an amazing
It's
thing.
beautiful. Mhm.
You think of Bernie Taupin sitting down at his parents' house and writing out the entire lyrics to your song on a napkin while he's eating toast and tea. And it took him like 8 minutes to write it out, and he gives it to Elton John, and Elton John looks at the lyrics and he can just write the music to that.
Right.
And that's really what I see in my wife, is that I might be able to play the coolest heavy metal riffs ever, but I cannot write the poetry.
It's beautiful.
Wow, that's really. At first, I was thinking
You said you needed more romance.
I was just
okay.
First, I was thinking I was just a wet blanket in the relationship, the wet blanket. But that was really nice.
No, I'm definitely it goes to 11. Let's get the groove on, but you have to have the poetry, or else it's not music.
Yeah, that was a perfect example.
I picked one of her bands, not one of mine. You guys can still like me when we're done.
Oh, me. All right. All yours, Vanessa. I'm done, guys.
So is there a such thing as work and your regular life being balanced to where you can literally have it all? To where, work doesn't take up all of your time, all of your energy, and still have that energy left for your spouse and things when you get home?
My answer to that, boy, I tried all of it. I tried that was back in the day when, yeah, there was no maternity leave. We didn't have any of that. I had no female colleague support for the most part in the early part of my career because rural medicine docs mostly were men. We had the kids. I worked part time. I always felt like I was bipolar with work, and then when I was at work, I wanted to be home, and when I was at home, I couldn't take it, and I wanted to be at work, and then I'm trying to fit in all the activities that I like and who I am, and I finally realized I was going to snap, and the answer is no. I mean, I hear still. My answer is no. There's balance, but I'd liken it to like an elastic band, and it's not. I don't think you can have it all. I think you have to make a choice in some things. I mean, you can still have a wonderful life, but I mean, if you're all in with your career, of course you got to let some things go at home. And if you want to be all in at home, I mean, yeah, you can't have this necessarily highfalutin career where you're at work 80 hours. And if you want to, you know, be an Olympic athlete and put in that time, I mean, yeah, you're not going to be in the boardroom for 80 hours a week. So I always said it's like an elastic band at times, and or maybe that's not the best analogy, but something like that where there's going to be tension at times when it's always moving and it's fluid. And yeah, there's going to be a bit more tension one way sometimes than the other. But if when you can find the right balance for you and whatever that is, because it's so individual for everybody, it might be more weighted on the work side than at home, and then something else has got to give, or it might be more weighted towards the season that you're in with your family and kids and work shifts. But you can't stretch it in all directions or you will snap. I mean, I tried that. And so I think it's okay for people to realize that there's balance in the sense that the elastic's got to move in different directions, but you can't pull it all different directions at once or you will snap. And it's different for everybody, and it changes with time and with seasons. And I think it's okay to recognize that something has got to give for a while, and that's okay. What do you have to say about all that?
No, I don't think you can have it all. I
Yeah.
think that's silly because I don't know what it all is, but I think you can have enough.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of when one of my best friends got remarried, and he's in a tremendously successful marriage now, and he was asking me questions, and I said, look, take your list of things that you want in a partner, all right, and figure out what's non-negotiable. Well, he did that. It was faith and it was work ethic and all of this stuff. So that part was easy. And then I said everything else is about enough. Okay? Is she, you know, does she have is she pretty enough? Is she hardworking enough? Is she, athletic enough? Because your enough is going to be different than everybody else's. And I think where people get really messed up in this is they let this external world and Instagram and whatever define for them what enough is. When like for some people, having a spouse that's really super duper into hiking or outdoor activities is really important. For other people, if they live in a city and they just the theater is their thing and going out for dinner, well then that's okay. But the idea that you get all of it, I think is just silly. I mean, we sacrificed our entire young adulthood to become doctors. Well, that's what it takes to become a doctor. So going into that, you understand that, and you have to be willing to make that sacrifice. And if you aren't, well, pick a different career. And I mean,
Right.
it sounds
Right.
sort of
Yeah.
trite,
Get it.
but it is what
Yeah.
it is, right?
Mhm.
And so and
And
then
so I think the people that honestly that really say you can have it all, maybe it's just their way of saying they've figured out their work-life balance for them and what works. Um, but you, I mean, I think people think that you can be the. Go ahead.
no, but I really want to stress that point of enough, okay?
Yeah.
Like because we live in a society that has built an entire economy on covetousness. Like we got to have more. Everything's more, 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 more.
Right.
Well, maybe I could have a more I could have more cars. I could have more homes. I could have a more attractive wife. I could have, well, you could. You could have all those things, but you're not going to have all of them together. I mean, even these guys that are the richest people in the world, for whatever reason, they might be like Bill Gates and Bezos and stuff. They can't stay married, it seems.
Yeah.
So they don't have it all. I mean,
Mhm.
right? I mean,
That's right.
and so, it reminds me of this survey they did in the UK where they looked at people on hospice, and these people they knew they were gonna die. They had 6 months or less to live, and they said, "What's your biggest regret?" And the biggest regret was I lived my life based on what other people thought, not on what I thought and what I wanted to do. So
Good.
living your life on your terms, on your
Mhm.
enough, yes, you can have enough, but you can't have it all.
Perfect.
Guys, with working so much and still being together, did you ever lose sight of your purpose or who you were throughout all of it? And how were you able to fix it?
Oh boy. Let's see. We would have
Stay with us, Tim. Don't don't leave us now.
because I'm in I'll be totally like transparent. I am in a struggle bus situation right now because um I since I was probably 10, but for sure 16, 17 when I decided I was off to university to become a doctor, and the whole family said, "Yes, this is our doctor." And that was my mission, even though I wasn't sure. I've had times in my career, just questioning how much I really liked it, times I hated it, times, I would quit and change direction. Um, Long story short, I've had this great career, but I'm kind of done clinical medicine, and I haven't been seeing any patients for the last 3 months, and I'm good with that. Um, and I'm ready to kind of do something else. But it's been really tough the last 3 months because it's not that I miss it. The kids are gone. So my role as mom is really done. They don't want me momming them. They're like 20, 22, 24. They're, yeah.
Make me a sandwich.
He's self-sufficient. But I'm at that point of like, I'm in my mid 50s and I'm like, what is my purpose? And
Mhm.
I've been really struggling and going through a lot of prayer, and I've been anxious because I think a lot of my self-worth comes from performing and doing, and right now I'm not. And it's like,
Mhm.
well, I know there's a lot of things I can do. I know there's a lot of things I would be good at. I have a lot of interests, but I'm like, I don't really know. I haven't figured that out. And so right now, yeah, uh I'm in that struggle period. Whereas before, honestly, just the ins and outs, I was the working on the marriage, role early in the marriage, and we had kids, and so then I'm the mom, and I have this side career as a physician, volunteering, just being involved, and now we're in a big transition, looking at moving, retirement somewhere else, but that doesn't mean not work. So, um, sorry, I lost myself with the whole question, but yeah, I'm really right now on a point of who am I? So just rediscovery. What about you? You're good.
Yeah, did I ever lose purpose? Yeah, 100% I did. I don't think there's any question, and I think that's a critical piece to the puzzle as far as just life and struggle and whatnot. And I think, and what happened for me is, we stayed at a place too long and got too cranky and too burned out and didn't recognize it, and that's super unhealthy, because it gets, you do any job long enough, it gets fairly easy, and
Yeah.
so the medicine becomes, you know quite an easy place to be comfortable but not happy. And there's
Mhm.
lots of physicians in that kind of burnout world where it's not super difficult to make a decent living, but it can be really difficult with all the changes in healthcare to be fulfilled. And yeah, I mean, we had some things happen to us with career changes where it was like, really, we knew it was God saying, look, you can't figure this out on your own, so we'll hit the ejector seat for you and make you figure it out whilst you're
Yeah.
floating underneath the crashing airplane. And that's as believers, I think that you should expect that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
So how can those who are watching and listening actually get in contact with you guys and get to hear your show?
Well, let's see. Our show is called BS Free MD, just like you think what it's for. We have a show that is a podcast. It's on most major platforms: Apple, Spotify, iHeart, Google. That's directed to not just clinicians, but as non-medical people as well, where we try to talk about healthcare issues that are current and matter to people, and we keep it light and fun, but yet there are some very serious and heavy topics. We have a website called bsfreemd.com. And then we are on Instagram and Facebook at times as well, if you look up BS Free MD. And people can check us out there and email us through the website.
Well, May and Tim, it's been so much fun having both of you and talking with you guys.
Thanks so much for having us. We just loved it.
Yeah, we really enjoyed chatting with you as well. And it's been a pleasure and an honor to be here. Thank you.
Thank you
Oh,
both.
thank you. This was fun.
Yeah.
Always fun with us. Moment.
Well, I think it is being free. That's although we did do an episode last year. That was
Oh yes.
it was April 1st.
You have to check that episode out. It is the was it number 13? I think it was podcast number 13.
Yeah,
I can't
we
remember,
had
but
people,
it was released April 1st, and that was a really
we had people convinced that we were going to go that NASA had accepted us as astronauts.
You're giving it away.
And that we were going to go to the new moon base that they were going to build, and that they actually wanted married couples, especially people in healthcare, because they were going to have a special weightless sex chamber. And people actually believed it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like it just kept getting more and more and more ridiculous. Okay, we're like, okay, gonna know. Everyone's gonna know. We'd meet people in the supermarket. They'd be like, "You guys really are going to the moon?"
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Oh,
that's great.
I'm like, what are you talking about? When are we
Oh, yeah.
going? Oh yeah.
Yeah, no,
That was pretty funny.
that was funny.
That's great. That's great. Oh wow.
To our viewers and watchers, please don't forget to subscribe to us on our social media outlets. Also, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, as we don't want you to miss out on our special guests and great topics. And we want to thank you all for tuning in.
Good night, everyone.